basically a login would consist of a 4 to 6 digit PIN, and that's how you get into the actual device itself. Now, my demo today is a grocery store, but 95% of what's on here can be tailored, changed, or modified to reflect the goods and services that you're selling. So I just have it on grocery because this gives me the most options to show you. And I also have admin permissions on this machine, so it's never going to prompt for a manager. However, I will point out when there are actions that are taken that based on permissions of the person using it, where they might need a manager override. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So the first optional portion that's going to come up is to pick a till. Now you can assign tills to people behind the scenes in our backend management, and this would eliminate this screen. But if someone were to be coming in with a cash drawer today and they know they're using till 100, they would just simply pick their till, and then the point of sale would open it itself up to them. There's four main parts of the screen here. So clearly your logo's here. That's going to change as we add items onto the transaction or receipt. We've got some quick action keys in the upper right-hand corner, some numerical keys in the bottom right. And then in addition to that, we have our fully customizable, scrollable touchscreen menu. I know you want to move to barcode, totally fine. If you would like to flesh out a touchscreen menu as well, you certainly can. The only screen that you actually have to have on the point of sale is this main screen here. And that typically consists of your best sellers and any sort of discount codes, et cetera, that are on here. However, I do want to show you that you can certainly have subcategories on here. So if we click on drinks, we can see that we can drill down even further. So hot drinks perhaps, and we can add a coffee to the transaction. We also have the ability to have pictures as well as information on the actual buttons themselves. So if your cashiers need any idea of what the service entails or any allergy information or anything like that regarding anything that might come out of the gift shop, you have that ability as well. It's not required, just an option. All of these are fully customizable. We typed all these in, so it doesn't have to be preset or anything. You would be able to show your goods and services exactly how you want them displayed. Alternatively, you certainly have the ability to scan in items. So first and foremost, there's four ways to add items to the transaction. The quickest, fastest, easiest way that everyone knows of is to just go ahead and boop a barcode. You can certainly scan a barcode in. That's not a problem. We have some clients that create a barcode sheet that lives at the register. So when people bring it up, they just have the barcodes available to them. We have some clients that barcode every product. However you want to run it, we can support you in that. The second way to add an item to the transaction is simply to find it in the menu and just go ahead and tap it right on the screen. So that would add it to the transaction. Because we would be linked to your Sage, whatever your inventory item number is would also be searchable in our system. So for example, 102 that I type in the keypad down here is going to pull up a papaya for me, which is my code in Sage 50. And then I also have the ability to go ahead and search through here for any text that is like numbers or letters where I can type in, sorry, my demo sometimes hangs right there, where I can search letters or numbers and it's going to pull whatever it thinks is the closest to that. So pair pulled up for me and I can select and add that onto my transaction as well. But I also want to point out that this is where you can also see your item ID as well as your quantity on hand if that's something that you're tracking and your current price. So we're going to go.
This is synchronized with Sage 50.
Correct, yes. So when go ahead.
If we have 8 items in Sage 50, it will show 8 items in here.
As long as you mark them as active in your system, yes. So as long as they are active items, we can see them and we basically mirror what you have in Sage 50.
So after we finish with this transaction, when I come back and I want to get another one item, it will show 7. For example, if I originally have 8 items, it will show in here that I have.
That's correct. It will count down in live time your inventory if you're choosing to track it.
Okay, all right.
So we're going to add this pair onto the transaction, and it's actually alerting me, this is optional as well, that I don't have any available. You saw that I had 0 available. So it's going to ask me if I'm sure I want to place this item on the order before checking the customer out. I'm going to say yes. Again, I have admin privileges. That is an option to you. You do not have to use that feature. I just have it on the demo for people to see. Once you have an item on the transaction, what you are able to do with it is a few things based on permissions. So perhaps I meant to ring out 2. That's okay. I can change it right here. I can tap it, change the number, enter the item, or enter the number, et cetera, whatever it needs to be. I can add a description. So perhaps this was a discounted because it was the last one. This will enter into Sage as a sales receipt or a sales invoice, however you want it set up. And it's not going to override the item, but it will display the optional description that I added onto the transaction. So if your bookkeeper has a question, hey, why did we discount this item? We don't have a discount reason on here, but someone added something onto the description, it will show in that specific transaction. You have your original price here, and then you have your price that you can change here either by percentage or by dollar amount. You can make an item taxable or non-taxable just by clicking on it. And you can remove an item completely from the transaction or even cancel the sale altogether if someone walked away or decided that they didn't want the item. Any questions about adding items, modifying them as they're on the
No.
transaction? Okay, wonderful. A couple of other things I'd love to show you. So we're going to add some more items into the transaction. We're going to save this order. Let's say it was a lady came in with a red shirt. She's got to go grab her wallet out of the car, but we have a line behind us. That's okay. We're going to save this order. And then when she does come back in, we're going to be able to go ahead and load her order right back up on the screen, get her items from the back, and get her checked out. So it allows you to continue to take care of your customers even when you're faced with someone who maybe wasn't quite prepared to finish the transaction. So I'm going to show you a feature. You don't have to use it, or you certainly can if you would like to. But not only do we have access to your Sage inventory list, but we can also access your Sage customer list. And there's a few
Okay.
ways that we're able to see that information. So if I click on this customer button here, I can search either by their ID number, whatever you have them in Sage as, an address, a first name, last name, a phone number, or I can search my entire database just by hitting search and find that customer typically listed by first or last name or the company that they're with, and I can add them onto the transaction. I can also edit them from here. So if I needed to update someone's email or phone number or address, I can do that here. On the second page, if there's a credit limit associated with them in Sage, that they have open accounts, but they have a running balance, we can reflect that as well. We also can apply any discount that those people automatically get that are set up in Sage, in addition to
Okay.
matching 5 of your price levels. So if you have doctors or nurses that use the gift shop and they get percentage off on soda, let's say out of the machine, then they would be assigned under whatever price level you have that category for, and then the register would automatically do it for the cashier. They wouldn't have to worry about it.
That's pretty good.
You can make the customer themselves taxable or non-taxable. And then we have this final page here. Now, if you do go with WorldPay and you want to keep a client's card on file, you certainly can, but that is exclusive to our partnership with WorldPay.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have this notes section here where you can certainly keep any sort of notes that you are looking to keep regarding that specific client or customer, maybe that only certain people from that practice are allowed to put money on the account or whatever the case may be. There's a notes field in there. You can use it or not use it. In addition to that, if we go in and we look at what we have for John listed, when we go and search for him again, every single transaction that's ever done through AccuPOS and has had him applied will actually show in my history tab here, and I can see what he's purchased, when he purchased it, what the service was that he received, etc. This is kind of a sneak peek of our receipts. These are also customizable, so a lot of the information on here can be changed. You can choose whether or not to show SKUs or descriptions, etc. But you can see that all of these transactions are recorded right into the point of sale. So then you have two places you can see them. You can certainly see them in Sage under John, or you can see them right here on the actual point of sale itself.
Okay.
Now, if we go to add John to the transaction, a couple of things are going to happen to our screen. We're going to see now that instead of customer, it does reflect John, and we're going to get some payment options unlocked. If we didn't have John attached, this button here, the pay on account and the customer account would be grayed out. But because we do have someone attached and they have the ability to bill their account, and that's something you're choosing to allow, we can bill this dollar amount right to his transaction or right to his balance. So the 1828 would be charged to John. Because I have his email, it does automatically populate here. If no one is attached to the transaction, this would be empty and you could certainly fill it in as you needed. And then you would be able to email and print any of your customers. For today, we're just going to say no receipt, but that is how they would receive their receipts. And if we go in and we check for John one more time, you'll see how quickly, just like the inventory we discussed, how quickly that balance has gone up. So instead of $1.56, it now reflects the correct balance of the 1984. So you've got those options as well. In addition, you can certainly add a customer right into Sage. So if there is someone that you would like to add at the store level versus going into Sage, you certainly can. We do recommend for any inventory or customers that you start at the Sage level because that's what we read. That's going to be your one book of truth, if you will, of all your information. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So the only other thing I wanted to show you with the customer option is that if you needed to have this as well, you could have someone come in and they could say, hey, I'm here to make a payment on my account. If I go into the same place where I actually charged his account, I can hit pay on account and it's going to pull up his active balance right now. And we're going to say he's going to pay $15 on it. And however he wants to do that, he certainly can, whether it's credit or a cash or any other sort of payment that you take. With WorldPay, there is a benefit, however, to using what's called an EMV card, and that's this device right here. So it's EuroPay, MasterCard, Visa. It's the most secure. It offers Apple Pay, Samsung, etc. This is via WorldPay. And the cashier would not have to enter any additional information onto this PIN pad. As you see, when I hit this EMV card, it's going to first ask me if I want to charge the card on file because I have one. I'm going to say no. And then it's going to ask me how much. So the customer agrees $15 on their card. This automatically transfers to this machine. And so my cashier doesn't have to come over and type in, I'm doing a sale, it's $15, etc. So it's waiting for me here. And I have this little debit card that they give me. So what it's asking me to do is go ahead and enter the card. The $15 is due. and I'm going to choose my payment type, confirm my amount. If there's a PIN number, we would enter that in or the customer would enter it in. It's processing. And once it says approved and for me to remove my card, you can see the transaction has already completed. And again, I'm given the option to email and print the receipt. We're going to do no receipt again. But if we go back and look at John, you'll see that that payment is reflected immediately. So when we look at his balance, it was 1986. We're back down to 484. So not saying that you have to accept payments at the gift shop or use your customer base, but just know that it is certainly an option as you grow with us if you might want to use it somewhere else in the facility as well. Okay, so also here on the right-hand side, we did the item search. You can do your quantity, a price check, of course. You can load an order in, cancel a sale, add a discount, all that fun stuff. On the secondary tab here, you can certainly also take a manual credit card, or we do also offer gift cards that can be used at that location. So if that's something you're ever interested in, you don't have to start with them. You can always add them on later. We would get you in contact with our client services team. And then on the shift tab here, we've got the ability to reprint receipts,
Mhm,
reopen an order if needed. X out, what that means is that your cashier would count down their drawer for the day essentially.
mhm.
Z out, so batch out for the entire day, which would also send any of the remaining information back into Sage. They can change their till from right here. They even have a payout option. So a lot of our clients, maybe they take a lot of cash in, and once they hit a certain amount, they want it deposited into a safe or a different location. What this would allow you to do is make that a reason, and then you can have a paper trail as to where that money is supposed to be at the end of a shift. So these can be whatever you'd like, but it gives you some flexibility as to making sure that your cashiers are not only safe by the amount of money they have in their drawer, but that you know exactly where the money's at the end of the day as well. And then clocking in and clocking out again with our time clock feature. But if you don't go with time clock, not a problem. But that's pretty much the cashier side. So you can have as many menus as you'd like. You can have it's fully scrollable up and down. If you use barcodes, though, which we'll go over our barcode software next, then you won't have to worry about building a menu out unless you want to. And our team would help you with that and show you how to do it as well. So my barcoding software is called AccuCount. You do need a login to get into it. And it is different from the point of sale because this is supposed to be where your shipping, receiving, merchandising team has the ability to either receive items in, do cycle counts for inventory purposes, or print barcodes for items that came in without an existing barcode, or that you're creating a barcode to go over that existing one. So there's quite a few options in here for your shipping, receiving, merchandising team to use. So we can do a cycle count here. We can receive items against a purchase order. So if there's ever something that comes in, let's just say this is like ABC rubber gloves for your facility, they can select that vendor. They can either scan the items in or search them as we did with the pair earlier. And what they're able to do, if I could spell pair today, I cannot, it seems. We're going to go ahead and pull that up. And we can even put our purchase order number. So whatever's on the packing slip, let's just say this one was 1234, our current scan count. And then you can see down here too, Marianella, that you're actually able to choose whether or not you want the barcodes to print as you're receiving the items in so that your merchandising team can go ahead and get everything labeled and put on the floor. It is optional if you choose to do it that way, but you can basically receive your items in. It will push the information into Sage for your team to go ahead and match up to the purchase order and print your barcodes for you. Or of course, you can just print your barcodes on their own. That's a separate feature as well. But I just wanted you to see that for the receiving portion of it. And then once you go into print barcodes, again, you can scan the item or you can search for the item. And I do want to tell you the printer that we align with most and we recommend for barcode printing that works with our system, and that's the Zebra ZD, like Zebra Delta
Uh-huh.
411, so 411, and that is with an Ethernet port or a network card. Can you see our copy of Sage 50?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. Okay. So this is the adapter I was talking about. This is what's going to, I don't know if you know, but Sage 50 used to be called Peachtree in the United States, so we
Yeah.
still call it a Peachtree adapter. But this is how it connects. So this is always running. We install a local server to you, either on one of the machines or on a desktop computer, whichever you prefer. That keeps your information safe and allows you access to be able to use the software. We can't see anything for compliance or anything like that unless you let us in to troubleshoot. So whoever would be letting us in and granting us permission, but we're only going to be able to see certain things. So what that also allows you to do is that if the internet goes down, you might not be able to take credit cards, but you can still do cash sales or bill accounts that exist in Sage already because our system is constantly scanning for the internet. It will save transactions until it sends over via the adapter. So really, it looks like a little tiny thing, but it's very powerful because this is how we communicate back and forth. And so you can see that one of our transactions already came through. So this is how it displays. You can also choose how you want the invoice number to start. So if you want to differentiate it from what you currently use when you're billing it internally, you certainly can. But this is going to show you that it was paid in full, etc., the date, and all that stuff. If it's applied to a specific customer, then it would show under the customer as well. So we don't charge for users that use our backend management. That is accessible to anyone that you decide to give a login to. And it can be accessed from any device that connects to the internet. So you don't have to be on an Android device to come back here and take a look at what's going on. So you have an idea live what's happening in your business. So there's a dashboard here, and these cards here allow you to change what you're looking at. So perhaps you want to look at different customers that have come through, or sales by hour, or you want to look at different date ranges, or even specific tills. You certainly can. You can see how quickly the information changes. You can also drill down in to see some of the item types, discounts that were applied, transaction details, etc. These can also be customized to show how you would like them to show. They are meant to be a snapshot, so it is rounded up to the nearest dollar, but we've got a lot more reports in our tab over here. So in our reporting category, we certainly have any types of reports that you might be looking for. In addition to that, when you're looking for items here, you have advanced filters. Again, you can search by date ranges, sequences, you can search by employee, till, customer, transaction amount, etc. All of our reporting can be exported to Excel. And if you run the report through here, it does open in a third window and Zoom does never let me show it. But at the top, it has the ability to type in an email address. So whoever you'd like that report to go to, you don't have to save it. You don't have to attach it to an email. You can just send it right from our platform here and it will go right to where it needs to go. One of the other things I wanted to show you on the actual dashboard itself was you do, as an admin or management position, have the ability to completely X out someone's shift or even Z out or batch out from the day right from the back end. So even if you forgot or weren't able to do it or someone went home sick, etc., you still have that control here. We went over reports. Okay, let's see if I can get back in here. All right, perfect. Okay. So if we're under our customer list here and we go into John, who's my most popular customer, you're going to be able to see his transaction list if I can remember how to pull it up. Let's see. View customer detail. And I'm not an accountant, but I know that I can pull an entire report here of the transactions. There we go. Customer transaction history. There we go. So is this kind of what you were looking for, that you're able to generate something that you
Yeah,
would then be able to send them if needed?
yeah.
Okay. So that would be the customer specific ones. And then of course we have the ability to go ahead and
So
just do
I saw the
attach them.
invoices, but that we didn't see the details on the invoices,
Oh,
right?
you want me to go back in? Yeah, I can absolutely go back in. Let me
Yeah,
see.
let's
Let
go
me
back in.
let me remember how I did it. Let's see. View customer detail. Reports. Okay, customer transaction history. Okay, and we want to actually open up an invoice. Okay, so this is what it would show like. If there's no
Okay,
payment to apply, it's going to
okay,
reflect as unpaid. But yes, this is how this comes in. So it's itemized, and
okay,
that way there's hopefully no arguing from someone who forgot they made a charge or something like that. But it does tell you their balance, their whatever you have is their credit limit, etc.
okay,
down here. So
okay.
perfect. Is that what you were looking for?
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. All right, cool. All right, I'm going to close out Sage now because I don't think we need it anymore. Uh, okay, perfect. Okay, so back to the actual management side, I'm going to show you what items look like. Now, we do access, as we talked about, your Sage 50 database. So let's take a look at chips here. I see my item code, that's what's active in Sage, a description, my price. I can see my accounting ID and which general ledger that it's supposed to hit. I can further categorize my items either by category or by type. And if again, if you'd like to track your inventory levels, you have that as well. I have -11 on hand. A detailed description, this is sometimes optional. Sage doesn't have a lot of character counts for the detailed description, so you can also come in here and add to it. Your availability, that's that warning you saw. You don't have to use this at all. You can do it at a certain level. You can do it if you want to be able to run a report where you're at a certain amount that you're looking to reorder, however you want to use that. And then there's some advanced item setups as well. So we already talked about being able to use the different price levels. And then we can choose whether or not a discount is even allowed, or I'm sorry, an item is even allowed to be discounted, if it's taxable, if you're tracking the stock or not. You can do it by item. You don't have to do it by the entire store. You can make it inactive. So if you don't want it to show in the point of sale, but you still want your reporting to be accurate, similar to when you mark an item inactive in Sage, you can mark that here. You can choose whether or not to sell partial quantities of something, or if there's any sort of serial number. Sage 50 supports serial numbers, so that would be available to you as well. I don't think you need this in this environment, but it is there. Um, and then you can see that there's even more ways to drill in and display particular items. Perhaps you just want a category that is, flowers. Maybe you have a florist that comes in and stocks your flowers. You can categorize it if you'd like to have the cashier drill down in sort of a tree. So basically you would say flowers, and then your
Mhm.
next option would be like half dozen or full dozen, and then, premium, and that's what would have the more expensive ones on there, the upcharge, etc. So you can do that as well. Or of course you can have them all skewed individually or barcoded individually.